Good morning, everybody. Is it? Yeah, it's still morning. For those who may not have seen my videos before, my name's John Blundell, and I do a blog each month about my journey with vascular dementia when I was diagnosed last year at the age of 59. And I believe this is about my eighth, ninth video. First of all, can I thank everybody for all the wonderful, beautiful comments that you made, and the messages that you sent over to me, telling me to keep going and that I'm doing a good job. That does really mean a lot to me, because I think on my last video I just wasn't feeling it, and I know I've done a lot of moaning and groaning, I think, because sometimes things just get to you, and some of the comments people say to you, they seem to become an expert in all dementias when they don't know squaddly shit, and people telling you to go man up type of thing and get on with your life. Nah, it's a lot more than that. I probably said this before. You don't know until you've got something like this how it affects you. You know what I mean? But I've decided to have nothing to do with people who are going to be quite negative around me. You know what I mean? Because all I want is people, what's the word? To be surrounded by people with positive thinking. You know what I mean? So yeah, I must admit, the last week I even noticed down the shop that I've been quite good, and I stopped. Typical, eh? I actually stopped using my stick because my balance did really improve, and I started walking the dog. First of all with a stick, then I thought I'd walk round without my crutch, and I was great, absolutely great. Didn't stumble at all, wasn't falling, nothing. And I thought, oh, thank the Lord, I was walking down the shop and down the co-op, and bless them, all the girls down our local co-op, they're absolutely fantastic. They all know what I've got and that. And they says how wonderful it is to see me like that. And I said, well, I feel great. I said, my mind's clear and I'll take the good days. I shouldn't have said nothing, because I got up this morning and I eventually fell over onto the bed. And then I got up and I was stumbling all over the place. So I had to still take my dog out because I was going mad to go out. But I had to use a scooter in the end, because I was just too scared to walk round. You know what I mean? But it's one of them things. It just, you have to get used to it. It's certain things that come and go. I mean, one thing I have been having, and I was talking to my mate Brian and Lisa, because he met him in the coffee shop and had a few hours together. Is that I get strange pains in my head. Like, I've never got them before, and it's a look at headache. So if anybody out there who knows somebody, or your loved one's got dementia, or you have, please feel free to contact me, and let's see what your experiences are with this. I mean, that it was like from the back of my head, the front of my head, sharp shooting pains, sharp stabbing pains, and almost like, how can I explain? And I asked my mate this, and he gets some. And it's almost like, I don't know, like a little electric shock in your head, and you feel it. That's it. That's it. That's the only way I can explain it. But I mean, I've been having that for 3 weeks, on and off, and I have mentioned it. I know I mentioned it to somebody, and they says that can happen, but it might be best to get checked out. So next week I'm gonna see getting the doctors just to see. I mean, if there's nothing I can do, there's nothing I can do. But I just want to make sure. You know what I mean? They say the rest of my brain cells dying off. But yeah, it's just up and down. And a good friend of mine, I must admit, from our church, gave me some wonderful advice, and it was so true. When you have good days, take it and make the most of it. When you have bad days, try not to let it get to you and just go with it. And that was absolute sound advice. So, Tracy, God bless you and thank you for that. Because I'm definitely am going to do that, instead of like when I have bad day and it just, it's hard. It's hard to explain. It's like something inside you sinks and you feel that doom and gloom, and then I start panicking and worrying about what I'm going to be like in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5. I think it's still here. You know what I mean? And then you have to snap yourself out of it. But again, I talked to my mate boy, and he's exactly the same. Deep down, he's like me. He tries not to worry about the future, but it's only natural that you do when you've got a life-limiting disease, shall we say? And like we discussed that we we have to make the most of what we got, don't we? But yeah, I can recall now that I did do a bit of moaning on my last video, but but yeah, I've had a lot of people contact me, and I think I've said it before that I've made friends with people in America, Canada, Australia, all over the place on this caregiving group and this one vascular dementia group. And people talk about their journeys and that, you know what I mean? And you swap ideas and, well, does this affect you? Do you get like this? Do you get like that? And like some of the sad stories, it broke me out. I actually come off it for a bit because I think it was affecting me more than I thought. And I had to have a break because I just couldn't cope with seeing all the terrible sad stories. And you know what I mean? But the one thing that I tried to advise somebody on, live in this country, I think they said it was not Coventry. I can't remember where they said they'd come from. And apparently there's nothing in their area for their loved one who's been diagnosed, young got onset dementia. And I said, well, there's got to be. I said, because where we am in the Midlands, I've got 2 clubs to go to, and I've got 2, them like OTs to go to. If I have any problems or Jen has any problems, I just phones them up and they'd book to come and see me, whatever. You know what I mean? And I've got them, like I said, I've gone for the rest of my life, no matter how long or short that's going to be, but you know what I mean? And I really, really cannot complain about the service I've had, from going to the doctors, to having my diagnosis, to the specialist who saw me and so compassionate and so understanding. You know what I mean? To even pointing you in the right direction. Well, you can get this because you can't work no more. You can get this disability, this benefit, this, that, and t'other. And I said to John, that ain't his job to tell you, but that's how good he was. And you have any problems, come to me and I can do you any, which he done me a letter. But he says, if you have any problems, I can do you more letters. It ain't a problem, But luckily, it's plain sailing. We had no problem, no problem in that way. Sorry, I think I'm drifting from one subject to the other, ain't I? About these people contacting me. But, I had wonderful service, and I've heard people say how long it's took them to actually get a diagnosis. Some can take a year, 2 years. I mean, whether it's the area we live in, or whether it's the services we have, I'm not sure. But as I said, from actually finally getting me into the doctors and them not fobbing me off saying it was stress and blah, 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 to actually getting my results, seeing a specialist, woman coming to the house, seeing a specialist, getting my results, it must have been all in total about 2 months. You know what I mean? And then within weeks, I had people come to the house to talk to me about the club they run up West Brom on a Wednesday. I'll get to James Club and every fortnight. And I'm in there, and then I had another call from one at West Brom by the bus station. He invited me along, which I like that because we've met some friends there. You know what I mean? And you all sit round, so you can see each other on a big table. You all sit round so you can face each other. And the one time, I think it was last week, we had a wonderful conversation. Obviously, I started it asking them, the ones who'd got dementia, how they feel about it. Yeah, there's some who can I say, more advanced than, say, I am. You know what I mean? And sometimes they're talking and they, well, I do that, but they forget what I'm talking about. So the carers, the loved ones have to talk for them. And they was just on about the problems they have as carers and how their loved one with a dementia, some of the things they do, you know what I mean, which is obviously, it's not their fault, but totally out of character to when, can I say, before it progressed, shall I say. I was going to say when they was normal, but, you know, I've never been normal, so. But hopefully you can understand that. But yeah, my advice, like I said to this one woman, is contact your GP, ask them if there's any services local where they have meets, you know, where there's where it's young onset groups or other groups where you can all meet, the people with the dementia and the people with and the carers. And if not, my advice would be to contact like Dementia UK and see if they know of anything local in the area. But never give up trying, because I'll tell you something, it's worth its weight in gold going to a place where you know you're all obviously different levels, but you've all got some form of dementia. You know, the ones at my old club, like I mean, my mate boy, bless him, he's got mixed dementia. I ain't got that. He's got vascular and dementia. I've just got, but vascular dementia, where others have got different ones. But at the other club, a few of them have got vascular dementia, you know, and some have had it for a few years, like, you know. And I spoke to another bloke there. I can't remember his name. He's older than me. His health ain't very good, to be honest, and I think that's one of the other reasons. And he's had a couple of strokes, but his balance apparently is terrible. Yeah, you know what I mean? And he says it even affects his eyesight. And although it's not nice to hear, because obviously if you had a magic wand, you'd wave that wand and get rid of it for everybody, but obviously you can't do that. But when I say it's nice to hear, it's nice to know that somebody else understands how I feel, you know what I mean? Because my eyesight improved, and the last couple of days, it's just come back where sometimes Jan can be driving in the car, and I'm looking, I'm taking my glasses, thinking them fogged up, and what's the matter with you? I said, of course. I said, John, your glasses are clean, so obviously that's part and parcel, which I know with your eyesight problems. And I'll get somebody else that advice. I think it was somebody in America with their loved ones, and it says, you know, something, I've noticed when he gets tired, his balance gets worse and his eyesight and all that. I said, well, if he gets tired, don't try and keep him awake. Just, if he feels like it, let him have a sleep for a couple of hours. How I do sometimes. I don't do it all the time. But I did notice that if I tired myself out too much by doing this, doing that, and I didn't have a sleep, okay, I mean, my balance got even worse and my eyesight. So obviously it's all connected to the brain, eh? But I did used to find out that when I'd had an hour or an hour and a half, that I felt better, you know what I mean, and my balance felt better. So it's worth a try, ain't it? You know, you've got to find different ideas, different ways that suit yourself, because as I said, I think I've said this before, it's like one glove, is that the right saying? One glove fits all. Every single person's different. I mean, there could be somebody exactly like me, my age, my fitness level, same dementia and all that, where they could probably be diagnosed the same, at the same time, where they could be worse than me, or they could be better than me. You know, again, I just want to, because people have been telling me how to alleviate this myth that when you're diagnosed, it don't mean you're going to go away with a fairy straight away. It can take years. I know some can be diagnosed, and sadly, within a year to 2 years, they can go down quite a bit. But that's not the story of everybody. You know, yeah, I was diagnosed this time, well, it's coming up a year, this time last year. But like John said, I think I've had it for at least 4 or 5 years anyway. You know what I mean? And as far as I know, I'm doing okay. Yeah, I get mixed up, of course I do. And sometimes I find it hard to recognise people. God, I've got to say it. Where am I? Oh, yeah, no, she won't mind me saying it. My ex-wife spoke to me in the co-op. I was in my scout, and I felt somebody put their arms around me. I tell her, I don't recognise her. And obviously if Jane sees this and knows her, but fair play to her. They say, of course you know me, this and the other. I says, oh, it's all right. I says, go on. And then as I look more at her, it looks, oh yeah, well, I understand. And then we went outside and had a chat for about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. And then it all started coming back to me. Her family, her sister, the kids, her brother-in-law, her boyfriend, I think, I don't think it's my her boyfriend, because he's had a few health problems and that himself. And it just all come flooding back. And it made me feel good, because it's like somebody slowly flicked that switch and everything started flooding back to me. And I have found that. Don't get me wrong, sometimes it don't. Very rare, but I must admit, sometimes it don't. And sometimes I just have to say, oh, I'm really sorry. I honestly can't think who you am. But most times, after a bit, I do get it. And I suppose there's people out there in my situation who are exactly the same. But, with going to these clubs, like I've said, it does help you, because you are on your own. You know what I mean? Sometimes, like I said to Jana once, I says, I feel like I'm the only person suffering this and nobody understands how it feels. Obviously, Jana's around me 24/7, but sometimes I think my family, and I'm isolating my family, I love my family, I think they don't even understand just exactly how it feels, and the confusion and the upset I get sometimes. We do see each other once a month with making memories that Jan organised. It would be nice to see them more, but everybody's busy, everybody's got their jobs and their life to live, but it is nice to have them meetings, but I even oh God, sorry, frig me, God, my brain's just drifted away. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it. So, in a way, it's nice to know that you are the only one person. That's what I'm trying to say, going through it. And by going to these clubs, you are isolated. So, again, excuse me. And please, feel free, everybody who sees this, to share it. Share it as far as wide as you can. I ain't bothered about recognition. I ain't bothered about people, oh, I seen that bloke talking. All I'm bothered about is the message I'm getting across, and that it ain't the end of the world. And if you keep knocking on them doors, there's help out there for you and also your loved one, but also for the carers, because, excuse me, they're the one who's got to put up with it all, eh? You know what I mean? But yeah. So please share the hell out of this if you can, and let's try and make a difference to people's lives. Because really, there seems to be more people understanding a bit more about dementia. Don't get me wrong, some people will see my thing here, say, oh, what's that then? I'm sorry, what's dementia? And I think, God, where you been? You know what I mean? You've been living on another planet. I thought every single person, who's grown up would understand dementia, like. But obviously, there's still people there that don't know nothing about it. And sadly, statistically, they reckon that in so many years' time, there's going to be even more and more and more people getting diagnosed with it. And, some people have said to me, oh, it's your diet, oh, eat grapes and grapefruit, it's supposed to be good for the brain and it can slow the dementia down. Have this, have that, oh, man. And, I try to be polite, but sometimes I could just smash the faces in, because I think you ain't got a freaking clue what you're talking about. Because let's face it, come on. If by eating grapes and having a grapefruit would help me greatly, me, that's all I'd live on if I knew it was going to help. But there's nothing out there at the moment. Me personally, I'd just say the best tonic for it is laughter, joking, taking a pee out yourselves and others. You know what I mean? And just having a good laugh and looking at life as a laugh, because that's what I do. People say to me, oh, you've got a great sense of humour, mate. I never see you down. You're always so positive. Yeah, obviously, there are the times where I do get upset and I do cry my eyes up and I do get frightened. But obviously, you don't want to be out showing everybody that, do you? Of course you don't. You know what I mean? Because people start thinking, oh, here he is again, all getting upset. Well, he's me. Because, I must admit, I think if I hadn't had it and somebody did round me all the time and kept going on about it and complaining, although it's terrible, I think I'd get fed up. You know what I mean? But I always try not to moan and groan about things like that. And if I do feel really down or I'm having a bad day, I talk to Jan and just says, look, I can't understand what it feels like. I can only imagine it must be horrendous, that going off in your head and the confusion and that. I said, but, we're here as a family, and we look after each other, and we'll get through it. And it always makes me feel better. You know what I mean? So that's a bonus. Having a good relationship with your partner, and as I said, having good family. Because my grandchildren, they're much younger, and they understand. Around 11, he definitely understands what I go through. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, if it's if it's just me and him out, you think I was a kid and he was the adult. He tells me what to do. You know, what I mean? It's like if we were on the scooter and taking a dog and he likes to go on his bike, he'll stop in the middle. I'll stop the traffic. Okay, come on, Grandad, it's safe to come across, and bless him. He's very good that way. I know I always go on about our own and my grandchildren, but I love them dearly with all my heart, and I love seeing them and them coming round later today, and I can't wait to see them because it always makes me feel better, and it like takes your mind off other things, and yeah. Oh, that's it. That's what I was going to talk. I was talking to one of my mates, like, bless him, Mark, and he's got terminal cancer, prostate cancer. And he says he was talking to somebody who knew him, and what he'd got wrong with him. And I said, well, Mark, at the end of the day, we're all dying, ain't we? You know what I mean? And I hate to hear that. Fancy saying that to somebody who's got terminal cancer. I said, well, what did you say to him, Mark? He says, well, yeah, okay. He said, but Yodo had to wait every 3 months to get to the specialist to find out how long you have got, or has the cancer come back. He says, yo, I got that, buddy. You know what I mean? I said, fair play to you. But why do people talk shit like that? You know what I mean? Well, we're all dying. Because, as I said to him, if roles was reversed and that other person who said that to you had it themselves, oh my God, that'd be totally different, And again, he's like me, he says, John, we both got ticking time bomb in our head. We don't know how long we got left. We don't know how we're going to be in years to come. He said, but we had to make the most of our lives. And I said, well, that's it, Mark. We had to think positive. But although I got what he's got and he got what I've got, we understand each other because obviously it's life limited. And I talked to this other chap at our church, Tev, Tracy's husband, and my God, I've got to mention him. He blowed me away the way he spoke, and he's got it all in his bones and everywhere. He's terminal, and he's not having some type of treatment because he's Rastafarian and it took him years to grow his hair. And bless him, he told what his hair falling. And he said, well, if I have all this treatment and it knocks me about, he says, okay, it might extend my years, say by 5 years. He said, but will 3 of them be feeling absolutely horrible or bedridden? And at the moment, like Mark, you looked at him, you wouldn't think he'd got a single thing wrong with him. Well, me and him had a good talk, like, at the church. I can't remember when it was, the other week. And his attitude to life, it blew me away, to be honest. And he says, I'm a kind of chap, he says, where I look at my glass is half full, not half empty. And the positivity he had and the outlook, and I said, okay, mate, there's not many people, I don't think, would have that attitude, knowing that you may only have a year, 5 years, whatever, knowing that sooner or later that terrible disease is going to get you. But, I've got to give him a shout out. I was blown away, and all I could talk about was that with my wife when we was coming back in the car, just how brave him and my mate is, and how they look at life. Obviously I don't see them when they're probably having a bad day or the tears, but to be as positive as that, and it does help. I think positivity and determination can help you to carry on. I'm determined to carry on for as long as I can. I'm determined to do these videos for as long as I can, and I'm determined to go on the Black Country Extra radio for as long as we can. You know what I mean? And as long as I keep getting positive feedback, and I know through what I'm saying is helping people out there, because that's all I care about. That's it, top and tail of the story. Not for me, not for recognition, because everybody who knows me knows praise don't bother me. Yeah, it's nice to have the pat on the back and people say, oh, I've seen your video, John, well done, it was really good. Yeah, it gives me a warm feeling knowing that it's helping other people. You know what I mean? But that is all I care about. I don't care about nothing else. But yeah, it's there was something else I was going to talk about, which has gone straight out my head. What was it now? Oh, yeah. Our Anne Marie took us last week, I think it was, because I don't know, Janet told her, but uh, I must have said to her about how I'm worrying about, like, in the future, I may not know my grandkids. So our Anne Marie, bless her, sorted a professional photography. Well, I can't even remember where we went. But basically, they took professional photos of me and the three grandkids, and yeah, absolutely wonderful. And I can't wait to get the photo back because I'll put that. I want a big one so I can hang it on my wall, and smaller one so I can put it in my memory book because the dementia people could give me a memory book. You put photos in, you write who you what you did and all that. I mean, I really started it. I've only put one photo in of Jack and Tom when they got married, but it'd be nice to get that filled. So if the time does ever come, you know what I mean? Like they say it does sometimes. You can flick through a book or photographs, and sometimes the people who you may have forgot, it will come back to you, jog your memory, because it's a wonderful thing how some people lose their memories and lose who somebody is, and then they might suddenly hear a piece of music, a bit of their favourite music, start singing, and then they start recognising the loved one. I mean, it's just weird how the brain works, but hopefully, God willing, I'm a long way off for that, yeah. But yeah, but in all, I've got to say, compared to a lot of other people, I'm doing okay. You know what I mean? I'm doing all right, and I'm a bit concerned with winter coming on because I don't know. I know there's something called sundowsing, and it's when the changes in seasons can affect people more with dementia. And I must admit, I know it's happening, but I think it is affecting me slightly. So I said to Jan, and I said I've got to find things to do in the winter because obviously in the summer you're in the garden. I painted all my garden, all my fencing, all my walls, all my sheds, and I've done the irons next doors. You know, just give me something to do when the weather is nice. And painted our Leslie's front of the house to again give me something to do. But now, obviously, the way the weather's changing, I won't be able to do that. But I've got to find something. I might even look round for a voluntary job if anybody would take the risk of taking me on, even if I don't know, even if it's voluntary making teas and coffees, because I'm pretty good at that at church on the Friday when we have a coffee morning. But yeah, because I love that Friday. We had a cracking time, you know, a really good laugh, and it makes you feel useful when you're making the people who come in there, making them cups of teas, coffees, toast, and I like waiting on them, you know what I mean? And also, the other thing is, even our president, Pauline, was flabbergasted how I started remembering what people drink because at first I couldn't have a Scooby Doo. Oh, you have black coffee with sugar, or you have tea with two sweeteners. And well, I know that's why they give me the job to keep my memory going, and it does help. And I've got to give a big shout out to Dorfieldson Spiritualist Centre. I know it's been there, my home, for over 40 years, but you know, and I just plugging it so people can go. It's a wonderful place, and no matter how I'm feeling, when I walk through them doors, it seems like everything's taken away. I feel on top of the world, you know. And even Jan says, I notice a change in me as soon as I walk in there because of the love and the compassion of everybody and the committee on there, and everybody are genuine, and you know what I mean. It's fantastic it does me the world of good. And even my mate Brian and his wife Lisa have started going, and they even enjoy it. You know what I mean? It's like him trying to convert nobody. I don't care. I don't care if somebody is atheist. That don't bother me. Each to their own, eh? You know, but it helps me, and it has helped my mate and his missus. So job done, eh? Great, because they love it, and the atmosphere is great, and it does make you feel good. So thank you all at Dorfieldson Spiritualist Centre, and I do mean this sincerely, for all being my good friends, and I know each and every one of you look out for me and Jan, and God bless you for that. I really do appreciate that. But yeah, forgive me if I'm repeating myself because it's like I say something and I forgot I said it. But yeah, we still keep carrying on. We're on about moving next year. We am going to put the house up for sale. Me and Jan, because Leslie and John, Leslie's Jan's best friends. Well, I mean, yeah, mate. if we did move, they'd probably freaking want to live next door to each other. And me and John said the same. Says, look, I don't mind if we're on the same site, like I'm down here, we're up there. Said, but we don't want to live next door to each other. You know what I mean? As much as we love each other, don't want to be in each other's pockets. But we aren't both all going to do that. You know what I mean? Even if we find somewhere and they've got somewhere up the road, whatever, you know. Because I only want to be no more. Like I said to Jan, the only stipulations we got. I don't want to be no more than an hour away from here because of family and the grandchildren and that, or an hour away from our Jackson Shrewsbury. You know what I mean? So I could still come down here, still come to church, still come to the coffee mornings and my clubs. Obviously, I probably wouldn't be able to do it every single week, but you know what I mean? Just like once a fortnight or whatever, just to keep in contact with everybody. But it'd be better for us because Jan's struggling terrible with the stairs now and has been diagnosed with fibromyalgia as well, and obviously people have got that. I don't know what that's like, but I've seen their sister-in-law with it, and I've seen Les with it, and I know it affects them. You know what I mean? So it could be very nice, and it obviously is very painful. So yeah, we thought mobile home, one level. That's it. Okay, we've got scale right down, but this is getting too much for us anyway to clean, and the garden's too big for us now. So yeah, that's what we're going to do definitely next year, most definitely. And obviously Jan wants to do it sooner or later, so I've got time to appreciate it and settle in, just in case my mind does, in case I took away with the fairies. But still, you know, what will happen, que sera, sera. So, yeah, people, I've tried to keep this to just half hour. I hope that just one word I've said may have been of some help to somebody. But please, as I keep saying, please share it. If you just look at it for a bit and share it amongst your friends, because I'm sure there'll be somebody out there who's got a loved one with dementia who will be able to relate to this. And obviously, if they want to befriend me on my site, that John Blundell's dementia journey, please feel free to. And I'll answer any question if I know. I mean, I'm not a professional. I can only explain how it affects me. You know what I mean? And as I said, people have said they've found it very useful. So may it long continue. So yeah, okay then. I'm going to cut this now. Can I just say to you, thank you for all your support. Thank you for all your wonderful comments. And it's all them beautiful comments that does keep me going doing these videos. So may God bless you. And fingers crossed, I'll speak to you in another month's time. Okay then, people. God bless you all. Bye.